Okay, picture this. It's a gorgeous summer day, right? Your whole street is basically one big party.
Yeah, you can almost smell the barbecue.
Exactly. Music playing, people laughing, kids are everywhere. It's that classic block party vibe. You feel safe, happy, part of something.
To a community feeling.
But what if, right in the middle of all that fun, something really, really dark happens? Something that just shatters everything.
That's a chilling thought.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. We've got 3 true stories, really disturbing accounts, actually, about how that innocent neighborhood block party turns into, well, a scene of absolute terror.
And these aren't just ghost stories or anything like that. These are real experiences.
Right. They really show how vulnerable we can be, even when we feel safest, in those really familiar places.
Yeah, the source material for this comes from transcripts shared on Mr. Nightmare YouTube channel. It's known for these kinds of real-life horror accounts.
So we've pulled out the key details, the really impactful moments to help you understand what happened and, importantly, how it felt, the psychological side of it.
You'll hear about an intruder, someone where they shouldn't be.
Yeah, and a stranger who seems helpful but isn't.
And a threat that's just relentless.
Yeah.
Marked, even.
It's pretty unsettling stuff. It reminds you that fear can pop up anywhere, even next door. So let's get into the first one.
Okay.
This story takes us to Long Island, New York. The person telling it is looking back at his childhood, maybe 13 years old at the time.
All right.
His block had this massive party every single year. They'd close off the street, food everywhere, inflatable things for kids. The works. He and his friends, Mike and Danny, just loved it. Pure summer freedom.
Sounds idyllic, really. Which, of course, makes what happens next even worse.
Absolutely. That contrast is key. So the party's going on, it's evening, and the narrator and his friend Danny decide to dip inside for a bit.
Take a break from the chaos.
Yeah, play some video games. They were gone for maybe an hour. When they came back out, they bumped into another friend, Steve.
Okay.
And Steve just casually says, "Oh, Mike went into his house ages ago, hasn't come back out."
Just a little detail, but odd. Maybe.
Maybe. At first, they didn't think much of it, but they decided to go check. They walked down to Mike's house, see his parents outside, who, confirm Mike went inside.
All right, so he's definitely home.
But then, this is the first really weird thing. They look up at Mike's bedroom window. The light's on, and Mike is standing there.
Okay. So why didn't he come out?
Exactly. They wave, they try shouting over the party music. Nothing. He just stands there, not responding at all.
That's unsettling. They're just staring.
Pretty much. So instead of yelling more, they figure, okay, let's just go in and grab him. Maybe he can't hear them properly.
Makes sense. Normal kid thinking.
They try the front door, locked.
Okay, standard.
But then they go around to the back door.
Yeah.
And it's unlocked.
That's less standard, especially during a party.
Right. But they're kids, they probably didn't overthink it. They just thought, okay, let's go get Mike. So they let themselves in, quietly head upstairs towards his room. The party noise starts to fade away.
And that sense of safety probably starts to fade too, even if they don't realize it yet. Entering someone's house, uninvited, even a friend's, it shifts things.
Totally. Mike's bedroom door is slightly open, just cracked. The narrator pushes it open, expecting to see Mike. But instead, there's this tall man standing by the window, looking out. His hands are just resting on the windowsill.
Whoa! Not Mike.
Not Mike. And the narrator instantly knows this isn't family, not a neighbor he recognizes. Just a random tall man in his friend's bedroom. He's completely freaked out, but also just confused.
I can imagine. Just sheer disorientation. What do you even do?
He signals frantically to Danny and Steve behind him, be quiet, and they just back out. Creep downstairs, get out of the house as fast and quietly as they can.
Smart move. Getting out of there.
They run straight back to Mike's parents. Trying to be calm, but obviously panicked, they ask, "Who's the man in Mike's window?"
And the parents' reaction.
Immediate. Mike's mom just screams, like a short, terrified scream, and his dad just bolts, runs straight for the house.
Oh, God. So they knew instantly something was wrong.
Terribly wrong. And as they're all watching, horrified, they see the man at the window just turn and disappear from view, back into the room.
Chilling. Just vanishes.
Yeah. By now, people at the party are noticing the commotion. A crowd starts gathering. Mike's dad unlocks the front door, goes in.
What happened inside?
About 5 minutes pass. Felt like forever, I bet. Then Mike and his dad come out. Dad's already on the phone with the police.
Thank goodness. Was Mike okay?
He was shaken, obviously, but physically okay. He told them he saw some random man just walking up the stairs inside his house, so he ran and hid in his closet.
Smart kid. Oh my God, hiding in your closet while a stranger's in your room.
unimaginable. The block party just died. Instantly, everyone knew something serious had happened. Police arrived, searched the house with the dad.
Did they find him, the man?
Nope. Gone. Vanished without a trace, like he was never there, except Mike saw him, the friends saw him.
That's terrifying. Melts away.
But it doesn't end there. Not for the narrator. He goes home that night, obviously couldn't stop thinking about it, scared.
I wouldn't be able to sleep either.
He actually did fall asleep, but woke up later, thirsty. Got a drink from the kitchen. On his way back, he passes the kitchen window, curtains drawn.
Okay.
But there's a light on outside, maybe a porch light or street light, and it casts a shadow through the curtain, a shadow that shouldn't be there,
No.
shaped like a person, standing right outside the window.
Oh, come on. That's...
He said he just knew, instinctively, don't touch that curtain. Don't look. He ran straight to his parents' room, woke up his dad.
God, the fear must have just surged back, thinking it's the same guy.
Yeah. Exactly what he thought. His dad, knowing what happened earlier, came down immediately. But by the time they got back to the kitchen, the shadow was gone.
Of course.
Dad went outside, searched the whole yard, found nothing. No one. But the narrator? He was convinced it had to be the same man. He said he slept with one eye open that night. Haunted.
I bet. That feeling of being watched, followed, it sticks with you. Profoundly unsettling.
Okay, so the second story. This one involves someone even younger, more vulnerable.
Right.
The narrator here was only 5 or 6 years old, tiny, at a block party with his older brother, who was maybe 11 or 12.
Okay, so a big age gap. Easy for a little one to get lost in a crowd.
And that's exactly what happened. He describes being in this huge crowd, getting separated from his brother, and just immediate panic. You know how terrifying that is for a little
Oh,
kid?
absolutely pure terror. Lost and alone.
So he's looking around, probably crying, desperate, and he bumps into this tall, older man.
Okay. Alarm bells already.
Well, maybe not for the kid initially. The man kneels down, asks where his family is, says he doesn't recognize him from the neighborhood. The kid explains, I lost my brother.
And the man acts concerned.
Yeah, plays the part, acts worried. Then he says, hey, why don't you come with me to my house? We can call your parents.
Oh no, that's the classic lure. Offering help, building trust.
And the narrator, being 5 or 6, probably told, don't talk to strangers. But in that moment of panic, he went with him, held the man's hand as they walked through the crowd to his house nearby.
That's heartbreaking, exploiting that vulnerability.
Once inside, the man tries to make him comfortable, offers some chips. Seems normal, right?
Deceptively normal. It's all part of the grooming process, lowering defenses.
Then it gets worse. The man says, follow me, and leads him upstairs into a small bedroom, tells the kid to sit on the bed.
Isolating him further. Upstairs, away from the door, away from potential help. This is getting really bad.
The man pulls up a chair and sits right in front of the kid on the bed.
Blocking him in, essentially.
The kid starts getting really nervous now. Asks the man, can you call my parents now?
Good for him for asking. Still trying to get help.
But the man just brushes him off. In a moment, he says. Dismissive.
Red flag, delaying tactics.
The narrator doesn't remember specific creepy words, but the actions, they escalate. The man moves from the chair onto the bed, right next to this little kid.
Oh, God.
And he puts his arm around the child's shoulders, still making absolutely no move to call anyone.
That's it. The physical boundary is crossed. The implicit threat is now explicit.
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
But then, just as things felt like they were about to get even worse, the doorbell rings.
Oh, thank God. Please let that be help.
The narrator described it as the most relieving sound imaginable. The old man gets up, clearly annoyed probably, goes downstairs. The kid, seeing his chance, bolts downstairs right behind him.
Smart kid. Run.
And who's at the door? His older brother, along with some of his brother's friends, and crucially, some adults from the party.
Yes. How do they know?
Someone at the party had actually seen the little kid going into the old man's house earlier. They got worried when he didn't come out, told the brother and the adults, and they came looking.
Wow. Community awareness. Someone saw something, said something. That's huge.
Absolutely crucial. So the brother, the adults, they start questioning the old man, questioning the little narrator.
What did the kid say?
He just told them, in that simple, direct way kids have, it was enough. One of the adults quickly took the narrator and his brother to her house nearby, called their parents, called the police.
Good. Get him out of there. Get the authorities involved.
Parents arrived super fast. Police, too. The narrator later asked his parents, what exactly did he say that made them arrest the guy?
Yeah, what was the specific thing?
His parents told him, he said, The old man lied about calling my parents and started touching me.
Wow. Simple, direct, and absolutely damning. Enough for an immediate arrest.
Exactly. The old man was arrested right then and there. The narrator says, understandably, he doesn't like talking about it much. It was traumatic. But he's just incredibly grateful it worked out the way they did because he knows things were about to go very south.
Unbelievably close call. Saved by the bell, literally. And by watchful neighbors.
Okay, third story. This one feels different. More overtly aggressive, maybe?
Let's hear it.
This takes place at a block party in 2017. Apparently, it was the only one their block ever had, and it was near a small patch of woods.
Okay, the woods element adds a different dynamic.
Right from the start, there's this off presence. A guy described as creepy and shady, walking around holding a big can-like thing.
A can, like spray paint. All right.
It wasn't clear initially, and he was apparently just spouting gibberish. He even came up to the narrator and his friends saying random incoherent stuff. They just figured he was drunk or high or something.
Okay, so an unsettling element right there at the party itself. Someone clearly disturbed.
Yeah, a definite disruption. So after a while, the narrator and his buddies get bored with the actual party. Typical teenagers, they decide to play manhunt and the woods behind their houses. That's part of the playing field.
Moving from the supervised party area into the woods. Risky.
The narrator decides to hide out in the woods by himself.
Okay, so he's alone now.
And as he's moving through the trees looking for a hiding spot, he starts seeing something weird. Big red X's painted on the trees.
Lexus, like marking them.
Yeah, he said on just about every big tree right in that area, just these stark red X's.
That's incredibly eerie. Who would do that? And why?
He's trying to process this, and then he hears noises deeper in the woods, footsteps, and a spraying-like sound.
The can. It's got to be the can.
The noise stops, and then he realizes someone is standing there watching him.
Oh, no.
It's the same guy, the creepy, crazy-seeming dude from the party. The one with the can.
Okay, this is bad. Confrontation time.
The man just starts walking towards him, doesn't say anything at first, just walks closer.
That silence is terrifying.
When he gets about 10 feet away, the can suddenly makes perfect sense. The man starts talking, repeating the same phrase over and over.
What do you say?
X marks the spot. X marks the spot.
Oh, that's horrifying. Directly connecting himself to the markings.
The narrator just snaps, tells him to fuck off, and just runs, bolts out of the woods back to his yard.
Don't blame him one bit. Pure flight response.
He finds his friends back near the party, tells them what happened. Game over, obviously. All 6 of them actually go back into the edge of the woods to look for the guy.
Braver than me. Did they find him?
No, he was gone. But the X's, they were still there. Bright red on the trees. Proof.
So they knew he wasn't making it up.
Right. Later that night, party's over. He shows his dad the X's on the trees in the woods behind their house.
And his dad's reaction.
Kind of dismissive. Told him there wasn't much they could do. Probably just some weirdo. Told him to get some sleep. Trying to calm him down, maybe?
Understandable parental response, perhaps, but man, knowing what comes next, it feels like a missed opportunity to be more vigilant.
Totally. Because that night, it gets so much worse. The narrator has a nightmare first. The same guy chasing him, Woods, saying X marks the spot, spraying the can.
The fear manifesting in his sleep.
He wakes up from the nightmare, heart pounding, room totally dark, middle of the night, shaken, and then he hears it.
Here's what?
Someone talking. Outside his bedroom window, which is right above his bed.
No way. The nightmare is literally coming true.
He forces himself to look, peeks out the window, and right there, painted on the glass, is a big red X.
On his window, oh my God.
Right in the center. And behind the red X is the man, the same crazy guy, holding the can,
Looking in.
looking right down at him in his bed, and the narrator can hear him, muffled through the glass, but clear enough, repeating it, X marks the spot, X marks the spot.
This is pure terror. A direct targeted attack.
And then the guy starts hitting the window with his elbow, trying to break the glass, trying to get in.
Unbelievable. Okay, what happened?
Narrator runs, screaming, gets his dad, describes his dad as huge and burly.
Good. Get the big guy.
Dad comes, looks out the window, sees the man still hitting the glass. It hadn't broken yet, surprisingly.
Tough window.
Dad just starts yelling at the guy through the window, taunting him, like, you better be ready. Then he runs for the front door to go outside.
Going after him.
Yeah. As soon as the dad runs out, the man outside stops hitting the window and just flees. Dad chases him for like 10 minutes into the neighborhood, but loses him. can't find him anywhere.
Vanishes again. But this time, after a direct confrontation and attempted break-in.
Yeah, the narrator said he wished his dad had caught him, wished he'd pummeled him. You can feel the anger and fear.
Absolutely justified.
Yo-
But the story doesn't end there, does it?
That's the really disturbing part. No, he's recounting this in 2019, years after the block party. Why? Because just a few days before he shared the story,
Oh no, don't tell me.
a big red X was drawn on their front door, and more X's appeared on trees in their actual backyard.
Years later, the same thing.
And he said 2 nights before he told the story, he heard footsteps outside his bedroom window again, middle of the night.
This is relentless.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing threat.
He mentioned they didn't have security cameras back then, but his dad was finally, seriously considering getting them installed.
I should hope so. That's terrifying. It never really stopped.
Okay, let's try to unpack this. We've heard 3 really intense, different stories, but all rooted in that safe block party setting. What connects them? What does it all mean?
Well, when you step back and look at all 3, some really powerful themes jump out, especially about psychology and safety. The first big one is this idea of vulnerability in familiar settings.
Right, the block party itself. Supposed to be safe.
Exactly. It's the ultimate symbol of community, togetherness, security. But in each story, that very setting becomes the stage for horror. It shatters what some psychologists call the sanctuary illusion, that feeling that our homes, our neighborhoods, are fundamentally safe spaces.
It really messes with your head, doesn't it? If you
Yeah.
can't feel safe there, where can you?
Precisely. And that leads to the second point. Unprovoked intrusion. In every single case, you have someone unexpected, uninvited, forcing their way into personal space.
The man in Mike's room, the old man taking the child, the ex-guy at the window.
Yes, it's not just about crossing a physical boundary like a doorstep or a window. It's a psychological violation. It's the randomness, the lack of motive sometimes, that makes it so deeply unsettling. It attacks your sense of control over your own environment.
Yeah, that loss of control feels like a big part of the fear.
Definitely. Then there's the third theme, the power of instinct and observation. Think about it.
Okay, like the narrator seeing Mike unresponsive at the window.
Exactly. Or the little boy feeling increasingly uncomfortable even before the man touched him. Or the narrator in the third story seeing the X's, hearing the spraying, recognizing the danger.
Your gut feeling.
Right. That gut feeling, or noticing something just off, acted as a crucial warning system in each case. It triggered actions, backing away, running, asking for help, getting a parent that were potentially life-saving. It's a reminder not to ignore those internal alarms.
Trust your instincts, even when things seem normal on the surface.
For sure. And finally, the fourth point, which is maybe the most sobering, is the lingering psychological impact.
Yeah, you really feel that, especially in the first and third stories.
Absolutely. It's not just that scary thing that happened once. For the first narrator, it's seeing shadows, sleeping with one eye open. For the second, it's the trauma being too painful to discuss. And for the third, it's an active, ongoing threat years later,
Yeah.
creating what sounds like chronic hypervigilance, always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
It changes you. It changes how you see the world, how you feel in your own home.
Exactly. It's not just a bad memory. It can fundamentally rewire your sense of security. We see this clinically with trauma survivors all the time. The echo of the event continues long after the event itself is over.
Wow. Putting it all together like that, it really paints a picture of how deep these experiences cut. Even though they're rare, thank goodness, when they happen in these everyday, safe places, impact is profound. These stories are just, they really stick with you, don't they? A stark reminder that, well, anything can happen, anywhere.
It really makes you think.
Yeah, how easily that fun, normal party atmosphere where everyone's relaxed and defenses are down can just flip into something terrifying.
It does raise a really important question, I think, for everyone listening. How do we navigate that? How do we stay aware, trust our gut feelings, like we talked about?
Without becoming constantly paranoid.
Exactly. How do you balance that need for community trust, which is so important, with the need for personal safety when danger can, apparently, show up right on your doorstep, even during a celebration?
That's something to really think about. There's no easy answer there.
Not at all.
Well, hopefully, listening to these accounts, as dark as they are, has offered some perspective, maybe, some insights into these unsettling corners of real life.
We hope so.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We appreciate you spending the time with us.
Take care out there.